Welcome back to Black Powder Therapy. Today we're going to venture into some hands-on topics. Less information, more stuff. So for today's topic, we're going to talk about the secondary part of firearms, ammunition. Ammunition ties directly to your firearm in almost every way possible. Every firearm has a caliber specific to a bullet, and every bullet has a specific speed to it. So while I'm going to go into some of those details in future videos, today we're going to talk about the bullets themselves in general. First bullet we'll talk about is the .22 long range. This is the most basic and simple bullet that we use. I've used it for the last 20 years teaching firearms in rifle and pistol with youth and shooting it myself. Within my family we have a .22 long range Marlin 5-round rifle. It's not scoped, it's iron sights, and the magazine holds 5 rounds, which allows you to bolt action reload up to five shots. So 22, followed by 380. This is primarily a pistol bullet. This is center fire. One thing I might go back to 22 quick and point out is the back ends are different. This is center fire. It has a spot in the middle where the primer makes contact. This 22s are rimmed fire, meaning contact is made around the edges to set it off. 9mm. One of the more common rounds used with pistols. 9mm and 380 have some similarities between their dimensions. 9mm is definitely longer, has a longer bullet attached to it, different brass, but dimensionally they are very similar and can become confused. Now, another thing about this specific 9mm is this is a rounded bullnose. Some call it a training or range round. All rounds are deadly. Doesn't matter. It just depends on how far you want to go, if you want to go through things or not. This is the ones that we use typically when we go to the range and practice. This one, which is appears flatter, shorter, it's a hollow point. This was intended to come apart whenever it hits its target and make a mess. We also call them self-defense rounds. These are traditional lead bullets. In other words, they don't do anything crazy like armor piercing. We're not talking about those today. We're talking about simple bullets that we use for ranges and self-defense. Big, fat, and chunky boy. 45 caliber American Colt pistol, 45 ACP. Running joke about these is proof that short and fat gets the job done. Why? If you look at it, it's pretty short. Not as short as the others, but it's very, very hefty, very fat. And similar in the same family as the .22 long range is the .223 Remington. This is actually a rifle round. This is the similar equivalent to the .556, which is the NATO round. These are most commonly used in your AR or your hunting rifles. These are also fun on the range. And we'll talk about that whenever I get onto a range day video in the future. But some similar things that are going to be found on all of your bullets. Ammunition is important. On the bottom, doesn't matter if it's a 45 ACP or a .223 Remington. There's a stamp. I'm going to see if I can get my camera to pick up on it. Maybe not. I may have to do another video that's closer. Because I'm not very great at these yet, as you can tell. But on the base, it'll tell you whether it's 45 auto, .223 Remington, 9mm by length. So this one is a 9x19. This is a straight 9mm Luger. None say their manufacturer on them. That is on the box. So the only one that doesn't is the .22 rimfire, which just has a rem stamp for Remington. The reason for that is because most of the information you're going to find is going to be on the box. The box is going to have the manufacturer, the OEM, unless they are essentially custom made or remanufactured. It's going to have the amount of grains, which is the weight of the bullet. That's the amount of black powder that's inside of the case, and the speed. Most will have the speed, and that's going to be given to you in two different ways. It's going to be given to you a muzzle speed, meaning how fast it's going when it leaves your pistol or your rifle, and how fast it's going at a certain distance downrange. For your 22, you'll either get it in a case like this. I have it in bulk as well. This one is specifically a 40 grain bullet. It's probably the lightest one I have sitting in front of me. And it's a 1255 foot per second at the muzzle. So when it's coming out of our rifle or our pistol, that's the expected speed of it. Whereas the similar bullet, our 223 Remington, that is a 55 grain bullet. So it's just a little bit bigger. It's 15 grains more than the little 22 long range. I don't have a specific speed on this one, but I can tell you that we'll cover that when we get into ARs, because every rifle has different twists, and the powder math all matters in that. The next one up is going to be the 380. 380 is very similar in size to our 9mm, but it's different. This one is a 95 grain bullet. This one happens to be Remington. And then the next one in line is going to be our hollow point, which is 115 grain. And our standard, which is 124 grain, 9mm. The highest weight grain black powder we have in this set in front of me today is our 45 ACP, which is a 230 grain. The other thing that the weight in the grains will impact is the amount of kick or recoil, depending on your perspective. 380, 22, 9mm, very, very, very good training and learning ammunition because of the amount of recoil and kick on them. Your rifles are going to have recoil suppression, springs, sliding butt stocks that can help absorb that. Most 45s and higher, it's just going to be all in your body. It's all going to be kick through elbows, shoulders, and wrist recoil. So, last thing we're going to talk about, in today's, just for the sake of being able to keep it within the same family of topics, and it's kind of funny to some people, we call it the anatomy of the pew, because most people that are looking at firearms, they go around with the whole pew pew pew, thinking it's all funny and cute, and it kind of is if we're being honest with ourselves. But the reality is, there's three parts on the bullet. You have the casing, whether it be brass or steel. That's personal preference, and it's also how often you want to clean your firearm, whether you're using brass or steel. The lead bullet, almost always is going to be lead. It may be remanufactured, it may be a different color. It may actually be steel or nickel, but typically it's going to be brass or lead. In this case, my bullets are lead. And then the black powder on the inside, the combustible material, because whenever the center fire or the rim is tapped and engaged, it sets off an explosion on the inside, which sends it around down your barrel and out the other end. So whether you call them bullets, rounds, freedom seeds, it's all the primary used part of black powder therapy, and I enjoy it. We'll do some reviews on the different manufacturers later on as I get better at these. But for now, that's ammunition from the manufactured side. We may also do some videos later on about how to reman them yourself, reload them. I have a really good friend that's really good at it, and I want to learn. So if I'm going to learn, I might as well record it with his permission, of course. Thanks for watching.